Indigenous Rights Radio, because knowledge is power.
Putting a spotlight on challenges in health and climate change, United Nations marked the 25th anniversary of the Permanent Forum dedicated to Indigenous Peoples' rights. Cultural Survival attended this year's forum, and we interviewed some of the delegates who were there. This is Shaldon Ferris for Cultural Survival's Indigenous Rights Radio, coming to you live and direct from the United Nations headquarters in New York City. It is the 25th session of the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. It is April of the year 2026. We are blessed and fortunate to have with us a student midwife, Natasha Bowman, who is representing UNPFII. She's with us today, and we're going to talk about midwifery. Thank you so much for joining us today. Could you give us a brief introduction, please, Natasha?
Hi, thank you so much for having me join you and asking me to be here. My name is Natasha Bowman. I am originally from Fort Defiance, Arizona. I am Navajo from Fort Defiance, and I currently reside in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, mother of 4 children and 2 grandchildren.
I think you look a little bit young to have great-grandchildren. Well, thank you for being with us today, Natasha. So, on identity and context, what is Indigenous midwifery in your territory, and why do you think it is fundamental to the life of your communities?
I come out of the Navajo Nation, and there we don't have very many midwives at all. We don't have any more traditional home birth midwives. That's what I'm doing right now, is home birth. And we have no more traditional midwives. So I have no one to learn from. I have no one to get any kind of knowledge, tradition, herbal, holistic traditions that we used to have. I don't have anyone to teach me that so I can carry it on. So for me, I have to go out and find someone outside of our community, the Navajo Nation, and I have to precept with them. So in that, we're revitalizing our traditional knowledge within our birthing systems. I will have to sit with medicine people, sit with herbalists, and learn what medications are still there. There's certain songs that should be sung during the birthing ceremony, during pregnancy. There's certain ceremonies that should be performed as well, but some songs have been lost because it was never passed on, and nobody carries some of those songs anymore. We just have the songs we know of right now for ceremony, and I have to sit in that ceremony in order to learn again. I really like how from South America, where they have the traditional midwives there, they have the traditional midwives that have generations of midwifery in their family. They have great grandmothers that have been midwives, and they passed it on. These generations after them had picked it up, and some of the elders here have granddaughters that have picked up the knowledge. They passed on to that knowledge. We don't have that within the Navajo Nation. That is lost. So me having to go into ceremony, it is a lot. The medicine people don't tell me, let's sit down and talk about this over lunch or dinner. It's more of, you have to be in ceremony. You have to be there in ceremony in order to relearn all this. You want to learn? We need to see you in ceremony. That's where you're going to start learning this. So I have to go out and seek different people, practitioners that still know of certain ways. And it's vital for us because talking to birthing families, they like that they have traditional midwives that of their tribe within serving them and catching their baby and talking to them, because we've had instances where we've done trainings where we've talked about traditional midwifery and what some of the traditions we follow, but it was open to the public, and we've had people that are not from our tribe, from the Navajo tribe, come in and take our teachings and also run with it, and then turn around and start selling it back to people that are non-Indigenous and charging for that. in Gallup, New Mexico, we had one instance where she has done that. There's a doula. She's not a midwife. A doula is a birth coach. She came in, learned some of the traditional stuff we had done. She is non-Indigenous, and she has turned around and she started profiting from it, charging clients $2,000, $3,000 per birth, and using some of the knowledge that she had learned from the Indigenous people. So that has really impacted us as well, and some people don't see that as right, especially the Dene people. And having like traditional holistic care with our herbs as well. We no longer have as many herbs as we used to. The earth has been destroyed by so much fracking, by the oil, everything that's going on in the Navajo Nation, that some of the herbs no longer grow within our lands. And some of the people I've spoke to tell me about birthing, herbs they use for birthing, for postpartum, for prenatal, and some of them tell me those are no longer around. It was never saved, and also it was never passed on from other generations to tell them this is what we used to use during the pregnancy of a birthing parent. So we've lost all that, and me revitalizing it is a challenge. It's a big challenge, but it can be done. It can be brought back within our community, to stay within our community, to pass on to our generations after.
Thank you so much for your answer. So when it comes to threats and challenges, what are the main threats that Indigenous midwives face today in their territories?
As I sit with the midwives with IFIB, especially the midwives from South America, hearing their challenges, it has really touched me, because excuse me, there's challenges you see and hear about, but you don't think, oh, that's not happening. That's what I would think, it's not happening. But as sitting with some of these midwives from Brazil, Guatemala, Chile, it shocks me how some of them can be criminalized for practicing as a midwife, for doing what they need to for their community and their people. They can be taken into custody for that, and then them not being able to practice with their medicines as well. And that really shocked me, and hearing about a lot of stuff that goes on down in South America is just so surprising to me. And I feel for them. I really feel for them and what's happening in their community. Some have to travel by boat to go deliver to another community to deliver services, and the birthing parent even sometimes have to travel by boat as well. In Canada, there was an instance where it's outlawed, where you can't practice your midwifery doula work as well in certain parts with certain tribes. You can be criminalized for that as well. There's just hearing that really shocks me, because we should have all this for our people, our communities. We should have access to this no matter what, because midwifery, traditional midwifery, has been here long before the medical system. We all used community midwives. There was community midwives in every area. From what I'm told, there was community midwives in the Navajo Nation. Every area had a community midwife. Someone, they would go and tell so-and-so's in labor, they're going to get ready to birth. The community midwife would pack up and go over and help, but we no longer have that. And Canada just surprised me with everything they have and how they're being criminalized for some stuff. Some birthing parents are being flown out of Canada to go birth in a hospital way far away, and some of the families can't afford to travel with the birthing parent or get there. And that's kind of like with the Navajo Nation. On the Navajo Nation, we're so vast, and we have trauma 3 hospitals or trauma hospitals that some of our birthing parents are flown out to. It's not within the Navajo Nation. We don't have a trauma hospital that we can stay at, and they'll be flown out to like Albuquerque. There's instances where I've had clients be flown to Albuquerque, and UNM, I'm part of UNM Hospital's birthing companion program, and we provide doula services. I'm also a doula as well. We provide doula services for free of charge. So they'll call me and they'll be ask me, they say, Natasha, are you busy? We have a client that's being flown out, a patient that's being flown out here to UNM from Fort Defiance or from Gallup, and they're going to be alone. Their family can't afford to travel the 2 hours here. They don't have the finances, they don't have the means, they don't have any place to stay, so they're going to be alone. If we don't have somebody with them, they're going to birth by themselves. And that really touches me, because I can't imagine birthing by yourself, not knowing any of the medical staff within the hospital, the people touching you, just unsure of what's even happening. A lot of the people don't know within the Navajo Nation, they don't know they have rights within the hospital as well, that they can advocate for themselves. They can say no to certain procedures, to certain things that are being done. They're not aware of that. They just go along with what is told. The doctor recommends that you should do this. So they go along with that, and just hearing about that and hearing about how people can be criminalized for that has really brought a big open awareness to me, and I'm very aware of what's going on around there, and just learning more each and every day from each midwife that I'm here with.
Sounds like it is quite a journey. So I want to talk about rights and recognition now. What do you think? Which urgent changes should states implement? What urgent changes should states implement to guarantee the rights of Indigenous midwives?
From my perspective, is in the United States we have a lot of licensure. So there are midwives that are Indigenous that took the training from another midwife, and they've learned everything of how to deliver a baby, what to do in an emergency, how to treat them prenatally, during labor, postpartum, if any emergency was to come up, how to treat and take care of that emergency. So in the United States, if you do not go through a pathway called NARM, it's the pathway to certify home birth midwives. If you do not have that licensure, you cannot practice in the United States. And it's even with the Navajo Nation, as if I got all my knowledge and my practice and everything, I finished all my training, I would be able to possibly practice on the Navajo Nation, but it would be up to the Navajo Nation, the people, the council, to say, okay, Natasha can be an Indigenous midwife on here without her license. There has not been very many births at all out there, so we'll have to see how that goes. As in South America, seeing what's going on in South America, there is no licensure. It's passed on generation to generation to generation. So they're not told you have to have a license in order to catch a baby. You have a license to bring life onto this earth. So we're told in the United States that you have to have a licensure, and it would be nice to not have that, for the United States to accept us as Indigenous midwives, traditional midwives, and not force us to take the licensure through whatever state we live in.
Okay, so for the last question now, when it comes to the future, what future do you dream of for the new generations of midwives?
That's a really good question. The new generation, my hope is we see more midwives, more Indigenous midwives. As I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and do my preceptorship there, we have even the pueblos around us, the whole pueblos, and there are some midwives within the pueblos that do some of the work. They're not out there publicly, but there is a few, and I'm really glad that's happening. Some of the younger generation is starting to see the change. My oldest daughter had started to see what I was doing with work, and it really intrigued her, so she became a doula. And as she started to see the work I have done as a student midwife with the preceptors I'm with, she got so intrigued, and now she's on her pathway to become a midwife as well. So I'm very excited for that. I would love for others in the pueblos within the indigenous communities to look into home birth midwifery. It's really needed within our indigenous communities. We need a home birth midwife within every community, within every tribe, every pueblo. We need that support, and I would love to see more become interested, and also more people inviting us out to talk about what we do, because it's so rare. People see it as rare. When I talk about what I do, people are like, you're a student home birth midwife. Oh my gosh, we did not know there was a Navajo home birth a student. And I was like, yeah. And they get really interested, and they want to know, what does it consist of? How is your care different from the hospital? So I talk to them about that. I educate them on it, and they get really intrigued about it. So some of them say, you should come talk to our community on the Navajo Nation. You should come to Kianta. You should come to Many Farms. Come to Shiprock. Talk to the students at the school. Let them know that this is a pathway too. It's not just becoming a certified nurse midwife. A home birth midwife is a pathway, and we need to keep it within our communities.
Very, very interesting to hear about all of this. Thank you so much for joining us today, Natasha Bowman, student midwife. This is Shaldon Ferris for Indigenous Rights Radio at the 25th session of the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. For more on the rights of Indigenous peoples, visit cs.org and follow Cultural Survival on Facebook and X.